What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Ironverse Uncut. My name is Cade, and today on the show we have Jack Vigil. He's the CEO and founder of Harmonix Technologies, one of the largest IT companies in New Mexico. But before he was building his tech empire, he was a martial artist, a fighter, and a bodybuilder. And he used that discipline to build his multi-million-dollar business from the ground up in Albuquerque. Today, we're going to be talking about the rules he lives his life by and what it really takes to become a self-made millionaire. Awesome, Jack. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely, Kate. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've been blessed in my life to know you and get to spend some time with you, and excited to just continue to know you better and let other people know you. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah, so I guess my first question for you I want to start off with is just kind of going all the way back to your childhood. I know you've talked about it a lot, but, growing up in Penasco, a tiny mountain, northern New Mexico city with not many people, kind of how does a kid come from there to ending up owning a multi-million-dollar tech company?
I think the thing about it is that it starts off with like a dream and not understanding. I think I was talking to my cousin. So I have a cousin, shout out to my cousin Fabian. He's a badass. He's working at Sandia National Labs. He does all that experimental shit. I don't think I knew limitations. So I never looked at growing up in a small town with limitations. Actually, I thought we're blessed. We're in the country. We have 2-3 acres of land. We have a river. I'm in the fort, and so all these people from the city are coming in, paying to try to live this life. And then, we had an education system that was second to none. I mean, Penasco Schools is known for its mathematics, its science. I mean, we have a lot of Ivy League students. In that time period, we had the highest math and science scores coming out in tests at UNM, New Mexico State, all that good stuff. And then I think the style of that hard work and knowing that you had to really critically think because you didn't have everything at your fingertips. Here in the city, if you want to get a job, you can literally walk. Even in the worst areas, it's within 6 miles. Where I'm from, it's 45 miles one way, 35 miles one way. Severe weather, right? Wintertime is severe weather. So you become very resilient. And I think that with those beginnings, and my dad taught me, if someone hires you for $10 an hour, you give them $12.50 worth of work. So, and then my mom owned a flower shop. So, all that accumulation of watching that kind of success and saying to myself, what am I going to do? It created that trajectory of like that hard work, right? Hard work, dedication. That's it. There's no other stories to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think I remember when we were talking, in the past, you told me that you came from a logging family, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they did a lot of that, and I'm sure that kind of shaped you and helped form that hard work ethic.
I think one of the things that we were proud in our town was that, my dad, we could knock down more trees, haul more cords of wood than anybody. And that just gave you a kind of a sense of accomplishment. And I think that's what's missing, right? Starting something from start to finish. That's what gives us that edge. And I think you think about now you see guys training in the UFC. I mean, they're chopping wood and doing all that. I mean, I was doing that on a daily basis.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important to have things to finish, you said.
Yeah.
Nowadays, social media ruins that aspect of just allowing people to really have follow through and work hard for a long time. Yeah. How would you summarize Harmonix for the people that don't know what your company is and what you guys do?
So I was really blessed. I got to work for a bar that we were under, Lucent Technologies. I mean, Lucent Technologies was the monster of all telecom in the United States, period. More patents than anyone. Harmonix Technologies is a convergence engineering firm, right? We converge multiple IP platforms onto one. Example I like to give people is guys like me are the ones that developed how you get voice, video, data on your phone, having one appliance instead of 3 appliances. Back in the days, if you wanted a video phone, it was a video phone. If you wanted an audio phone, it was an audio phone. If it was a computer, it was a computer. Now it all converts into one. So I'm one of the pioneers of actually building converged networks so that you can collapse all those protocols on one platform, right? So I was one of the top guys building the information highway, right? And still am.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you went to New Mexico State, right?
Yeah. So I started off in college, in high school, we were just kicking ass. And so a guy named Jürgen Schillis, he was at Intel, and they didn't have enough mechanical language programmers. And so they went out to all the schools that had high math and science scores, And they kind of said, look, guys, if you do this, we're going to ship you off to the junior college, and you're not going to go to high school. You're going to sign this contract, and then we're going to give you a job at Intel. Right? So they were busing us from Penasco to Northern. Northern had a program with New Mexico State, is that once you finish 2 years there, you automatically, if you got, say, the engineering scholarship at New Mexico State, which I got, you would basically just free ride all the way to the top, right? Yeah. And so think about this. I'm a high schooler. I'm 16 years old, and I'm in college.
Yeah.
Right? So, but it all started in the beginning, right? Let's circle back to like my teachers. Sad thing, one of my third grade teachers just passed away, and her name was Miss Garduño. But teachers like Miss Garduño or Miss Montano or Maximo Gurule, Mr. Garcia, they gave me that confidence in mathematics and just say, you know, academics is the way to go. So in our hometown, the slogan for the school is knowledge is to advance, right? Education is to advance. Yeah. So the more you learn something and master something, you move forward, right? So starting with that piece of it, I was jumping light years ahead of everybody. While everybody's out there partying and wanting to drink and all that, I'm doing college courses. What I realized there, and I don't know if I've told you this, but when I was 17 years old, me and my best friend, we went off to boot camp. So we did boot camp. Back in my days in 96, you could do boot camp as a junior and then come back to your class and then do AIT after the fact. So my philosophy was I want to run all horses at once, okay? And I talked to you about this, mind, body, spirit, right? So I was in bodybuilding and martial arts at a very young age, right? That defined the first platform. The schooling was the mind, the academics portion of it. But the most important thing for me was my faith, right? Penasco is a very strong Catholic community, you know, catechism, all that. But what I learned there is I had a priest that was amazing, a pastor. And what he taught me was about really the blessings and how God is going to give you. And if you have multiple roads to choose because we have free will, but if you choose the right roads and you're doing the right things, then the right thing is going to happen to you. Mm. So that was the most important, right? So when I think about what are the two bases of my success, my faith, number one, over anything. Number two, the discipline that I learned in bodybuilding and martial arts. I just happen to be gifted in academics, like, right? That's just a gift that God gave me. And I was gifted in bodybuilding, obviously. Like, you know, I wish I had brought pictures we could have thrown up how I looked like when I was 16 years old. Yeah. But what I learned is to basically take those God-given gifts and move myself forward. So you're like, well, how does bodybuilding and academics work? If you walk in the room and you're super built, people are already drawn to you. They're like, this guy knows what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. So my nickname was the bodybuilding nerd, right? So they're seeing this big bodybuilder dude who kicks like Van Damme. All of a sudden, now I've literally taken myself completely different than everybody else. We get to boot camp, me and my best friend, and we start setting records, right? 88 push-ups in a minute, right? Running two miles. Mine was 7:05. 12 minutes and 15 seconds. Stuff like that. You start to set yourself aside. You know, I'm running. I was super fast. I could run with running backs. 15 pull-ups. That's what it takes to get to any spec op, right? But immediately our whole goal was we're going to outshine everybody. Because the thing for me was, you're bad here in this town, what are you going to do in the city? And the greatest thing for me is have gone out nationally and shown the world that I kick ass. That's the biggest flex, right? And coming from the small town. So I take the approach, like, I wish I'd brought my enlightenment letter so you could read. But really, I've always felt like I was like a King David. You know, going as from a shepherd boy, going to knock down Goliath. And Goliath for me is life. But when I was sitting back the other day, I was probably New Mexico and Albuquerque is one of the most eligible bachelors. I lived like Floyd Mayweather for many years. And the reason I did it is because I really didn't understand what I wanted. I just didn't feel things. Now fast forward, right? I'm a good husband, a good father. And now that to me is a lot more impressive than everything that I had actually collected in my life, right? And so when you look at this, it's all about legacy. Like, what's your legacy at the end of the day? And my legacy is about what I've told you, hard work, dedication. It takes time. Like, I was in the industry for 7 years before I started Harmonix Technologies, right? There was no I mastered it. I think one of the craziest things, Kate, for me, Ty, and I think in this generation is everybody wants to be this expert, but you haven't done shit. Like, I'm really good at doing this. And I'm like, you did it once. Have you done it? 10,000 hours.
Yeah. 10,000 hours.
If you haven't done 10,000 hours, I don't even want to hear it out of your mouth. Yeah. It's a hobby. Yeah. Now, if you've done it 10,000 hours, let's talk about it. And then now let's see, how do you match up? Have you made money at it? What did you do? What's the measurable, right? Growing up in Penasco, there's 2 things you're gonna do. You're going to church and you're gonna play basketball. Life is like basketball. You can say you're a badass, but how many baskets did you put in? That's what I love about life. In business, it's how much money have you made? How profitable have you been? Right? Yeah. Harmonix Technologies, 20 plus years in business. All 20 years, profitable. Right? Yeah. Self-made multimillionaire before I was 25 years old. That is how you gauge things. One thing I do want to kind of spec out on this thing, and I'm glad you asked these questions, is, but I want the people in New Mexico not to gauge themselves off of me. I was an anomaly, right? Timing, yes, preparation. But if you're out there kicking ass and you're a police officer or you're in construction or you're doing something amazing, don't look at me and think you're not a failure. That's what I don't want. What mine was to shine and give me accountability. And I look back on my life and say, God, okay, what did you ask for? So I'm going to back up with the stories so that this precedence makes sense. So I used to work in Los Alamos in the summers, and I used to drive down this hill. And when I used to drive down this hill, I looked over and I saw this house, and it was literally like a modular home that was like stuccoed, built really nice. Had a 2-car garage, and it had a carport. So one day I just pulled up and I asked the man, I said, how big is this place? And he's all 2,200 square feet. I thought that was monstrous, right? 2-car garage. And so I said, God, I'm driving up the hill, and I said, if you give me one thing, I want a 2,200 square foot house, an acre of land, 2-car garage with a carport. And in my garage is going to be a Corvette, my motorcycle, my lifted truck, and then I want a daily driver, like at the time I was thinking like a Toyota Camry. That's going to be when I get to work in style. That's what I thought. Yeah. God said, you know what? That's your goal. But I'm going to give you this. Now, I don't want to come on this podcast to brag, but I own over 25 to 30,000 square feet of personal living space. And that could be multiple houses. I'll let you do the math, right? I have over 25 from exotic to regular cars. But at the end of the day, that's what God gave me. But I think the purpose why he gave me that, so that I could show the world my accountability and the capability. Because in today's society, they're not going to listen to you. You could do something good and be like, well, what do you do? Show it to me. We're in this culture, like, let me see it on the screen. Like, I am what these people are faking, right? Yeah. The reality is here. In my 30s, I used to have this running joke and say, I got more titles than Floyd Mayweather. Everything I own, I have titles for it. But that's kind of like why I feel I'm not where I'm at now. Now having my sons, right? It's like, what's the thing? My goal is to make them better than me. But better than me doesn't mean financially. I want them to be better men than me, because they don't have to deal with the stuff, which I hope they don't, but they won't, is the bullying that I did with, and why I became a bodybuilder and that type of anger, and why I became a kickboxer and all that. It was all negatively driven. It wasn't positively driven. It was from a point, I don't want to feel this way, right? I'm going to be this obstacle. Well, I don't want my sons to feel that. I want them to give them that, we're going to work this, but you're not going to get pushed over, because since 2 years old, I'm training Jack now to know how to fight. Now, am I teaching him to learn to fight to be a bully? No, I'm teaching him to know how to fight, because every man should be a warrior and you should know how to fight, right? Because if the wolf knocks on your door, you want to be the hungry, drooling tiger to answer the door. And you might not even have to answer the door, because once they see the hungry, drooling tiger, they leave out the window.
Yeah.
Right?
Very true. Yeah, I think that's one of the best goals any son can have, is to be better than their father.
100%. Right? You know, when I was, I got to interact with one of the greatest sergeant majors ever. And, you know, one thing that I want to say is, like, when you look at America and you look at China and you look at Russia, and everyone's like, what are these monsters? And this spec op broke it up pretty easy. And what they said was this: China's like a tiger, right? And Russia's like a wolf pack, and America's a bear. A wolf pack can't take down a bear. And a tiger's not going to go against a bear because the ending could be bad. So you let the wolf pack go out and figure out what's going on to see what the intel is. Because what tigers are known for is extreme intelligence, right? And that's how I view myself. So I told myself growing up, I want to be a merge of a tiger and a bear. And I'm going to take those two virtues and combine them into one. And so that is how I visualize things all the time. So when I'm creating these metaphors for people, and I'm like, you know what? Like, don't try to hunt a grizzly bear. It's not going to work for you. You know what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
So I think that's been the precedence of what I've been in success and what I've done. And I think that's really the foundation. But I think that at the end of the day, the foundation is, I don't think people should build their merit off of what I think is monetary gain. You need it. We all need it. Money is like water. We need it. We need to drink that, but it shouldn't be your basis. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think if you're working for money, you're not going to be very successful. Whereas if you're working for something, maybe money, your report card will come back good. My
grandfather once told me, he says, he pulled out a dollar bill and he saw that eagle, and he said, let's see that eagle right there? That thing can fly fast into your hand or out of your hand. Right? So it's just a resource. And if you look at it as a resource, you should do that. Second, people are, Jack, what do you think I should do? I said, don't get in fucking debt. Yeah. Plain and simple. Don't get in debt. Yeah. Right? Dumbest thing you could ever do. Don't screw up your credit. Basic. That's pretty two basic things, right? Don't screw up your credit and don't get in debt. Lift weights. That doesn't cost you anything. So if you go to the gym every single day and you don't get in debt and you start reading books and you do the basis of that, you're going to be a better person.
Very much so.
Basics, right?
Yeah. So you talked about the name of the company was Ivaya, right? The company you originally worked with?
Lucent.
Yeah. Okay. Lucent. Yeah. Was your plan, you know, when you started working there at a very young age, did you kind of very quickly know, hey, I'm going to, you know, learn what I can from this and leave?
Absolutely not. I was scared out of my ass. I'm glad you asked this question. I was in a point, I've always talked to God. Like, I've talked to God driving in my car. I talked to God in my head. I pretty much talk to God all the time. I created the Harmonix spray. I posted it the other day. I kind of stole it and then turned it into my own. But I was like, holy smokes. I remember sitting and wondering what I was going to do, how I was going to make money, how I was going to live up to my parents. And I was like, think about this. My dad's kicking ass at Los Alamos Labs. My mom's kicking ass in her business. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how am I even going to get to 3/4 of this? So that was the fear. So it was fear driven. So fear drives me. I'm like Mike Tyson. Fear just drives me. And so I'm like, I'm going to get to work. I'm going to get to work. What I've done in my life is keep my head in the trench. I don't look at things like that. Like, oh, you know what? Like an opportunist. Like, I'm going to go here, learn this, and go start. No. I've always been the guy, if they say, Jack, I need you to do this, I'm going to do even more. Because in my time, Cade, the thing was, there wasn't a lot of jobs. So if you didn't keep your job, there was a lot of rifts. So they would hire people and then have layoffs. And my goal was not to get laid off. So if you hired me to do one thing, I was going to be more than that. So I was going to make it painful. So if you try to fire me or you had to lay me off, that's going to suck. It was going to suck for you. So in that firm that I was at, they had a layoff. And I was, oh my God, sweating it. I had just bought a Z28 Camaro, badass, white interior. I love my light Borla exhaust. And I'm like, there's a rift coming. And I remember when the manager comes to me and says, Jack, you're not even in this conversation. So go on and do your work. That right there told me, oh my God, everything my dad talked about, they pay you $10 an hour, getting $12.50 worth of work. I wasn't in that conversation. I saw the people get fired because they were underperformers. I just continued mastering my craft. I fell in love with technology. and I wanted to master it. Then I like to help people. So I was an engineer. Then I was talking to people and they'd be like, help me with this problem. And I could solve it. And then they would be like, well, this is all my budget. And then I'd be working with salespeople, and salespeople are slimy and they want to make a number. And I'm like, well, that's not the right things. So all of a sudden, because I was always seeking to do the right thing, people just trusted me. And then it went from decision makers saying, I want to work with him only. So imagine you have control of a $2 million contract. You walk in and you think that I'm the sales guy, or here's my VP, and the guy who cuts the check looks at you and says, that's cool, but I want to do the deal with him. And if I don't do the deal with him, we're not going to give you the contract.
Yeah.
Right? Performance speaks everything. So now it took the power out of all the wrong things into the right things. So the philosophy is always bring value. No matter what you do, bring extreme value, and you're always going to make money. Right? If you're known to making the best hamburger, the highest quality, word of mouth is going to get you out there, and people are going to buy. Yeah, I'm going to go because I'm going to go for the quality. Make sense?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, so you officially started Harmonix in 2005, right?
Yeah, so 7 years in the industry. And the funny part, the reason I started Harmonix Technologies is I left the firm and my tax returns were so high because I was averaging between like $600,000 to $900,000 a year in some of my good years, right? And so nobody would hire me. And the funny part was I was like, what the hell? But I had money in the bank. So I'm money in the bank. I got my badass house, my Intel, 3,000 square feet, 3-car garage. I'm killing it as a very young man. I'm training all the time. I'm sitting in there and I'm like, I got to get a job. So I went to interview and people would be like, you're just going to use this as a stepping stone because my tax returns are so large. So I went to go interview with the firm. And I'm not going to mention it on the air, but the company's vice president, he says, well, if you're as good as you say you are, why wouldn't you have started your own thing? Because nobody at this company makes that kind of money. So I had an offer from Home Depot, and Home Depot wanted to bring me on, hire me, and then run tech, but they didn't have that position open yet. So I called the guy at the time. It was like one of those headhunters, and I said, like, dude, I kind of got challenged, and I got to take this challenge. Long story short, I launched Harmonix Technologies. In that first year, I put that company's telecom division out of business. Year 2, I took out a national company in Albuquerque, put them out of business. At that time, by year 3, by 2008, I had won the Young Entrepreneur in the U.S. Award, right? Year 4, I'm dominated. I'm like one of the top FCC-rated contractors in the United States. But the reality is this. When I started Harmonix, it was a name with the performer behind it. It's like being a ball player and you're LeBron James or you're Michael Jordan and you're at the Bulls and then you're like, you know what? Guess what? I'm not playing with the Bulls anymore. I'm going to go play here. You're still Michael Jordan. So I'd already built a name in the industry. Customers, vendors, I was a force to be reckoned with. So when I started Harmonix, they're like, of course this guy could do it. This guy used to be a high-level guy. He controlled a $50 million region. You see what I'm trying to say? So the accountability was already there.
Yeah, that makes sense. In the first few years, was there any times where, any struggle where you're like, oh man, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here?
No.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I'm a monster planner, and there might have been moments in my mind where I was like, whatever, but I don't, Kate, I did a podcast where someone asked me, what are your failures? And I said, well, I'm kind of programmed not to even think of failures. I look at them as lessons.
Yeah.
But you got to imagine when I started Harmonix, I had like over $500,000, right? Savings account, checking account, liquid. And so I don't jump into any type of crap if I don't have 2 years of whatever I'm going to do in savings.
Okay.
So like right now, if I was going to say, I'm going to go become an actor, well, I'm going to make sure my bills are paid for 2 years, how I live without making any different moves. I think that's where people go wrong. So they become desperate. Then you got to make deals with the devil and do all kinds of crazy. Me, I was in a position to continue mastering my craft and never have to make a deal.
Mm.
Like undersell my product or not know what I'm worth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's very planning for me. I'm a monster planner.
Yeah. Now I want to kind of start getting into some of the, martial arts and the bodybuilding stuff. And so you've studied a lot of different martial arts, Kung Fu, Taekwondo, Muay Thai, all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
kickboxing. And then you talked about being a bodybuilder. What kind of drew you to fighting specifically in bodybuilding?
So when I was a very young man, I used to get picked on a lot. Like, people don't believe this story, but I used to get picked on a lot, right? And so it was like fear. And I remember one time my uncle, he was a badass, right? He was a badass boxer, like he was known. And so he's like, I'm gonna teach you how to box. And I think it started from 2nd grade, and I was like overdeveloped. It was very weird. So you gotta imagine I'm doing all this really like man work, hauling wood, doing all this. So by 3rd grade, I had like super overdeveloped biceps, ripped 6-pack on a 3rd grader, right? So nobody wanted to play with me, but the girls were always like, I want to be your friend. But I was like, but I don't want to be friends with the girls. I want to be friends with these guys. And so it was literally like a point where people wouldn't accept me. And I realized at the time, I was like, am I an odd? Am I this? And that's where the hard times came for me in the beginning. I believe that God, when he has a plan for you, he's going to mold you, and he's going to put you through fire. And I happen to have a bullshit, I call it 1st grade to 21. That's when all the turmoil in my life hit, and it molded me to who I am, right? And so from that, I started lifting weights when I was 12 years old, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just be a badass. I'm gonna be so strong, no one's gonna be able to mess with me. My mom, we had this one lady. She was this Olympic person. She rented one of my mom's guest houses. I started mowing her lawn and walking her dog, and then asked her to train me. And so my first martial arts was Taekwondo. And she was working with Michael Thor, and they were getting people ready for the Olympics, like at an Olympic level, right? Taos was known very well. And so I started boxing and doing martial arts. And because I really didn't have any friends, I kind of just focused on that. And then I would talk to my dog. It's funny as shit, I had a dog. I talked to my dog, and I just kind of was like an odd kid. It's just always by myself, but a very hard worker. And then academically, I was just achieving things faster than anybody. Then I could draw. I was a fierce drawer. So like, I was able to keep myself occupied by weight training and doing martial arts. And that's how it all started for me.
Mm.
Then it started creating an identity for me. As I got to like 5th grade, all those bullies were scared shitless of me, right? I got a funny story. By the time I got to 7th grade, I was pretty strong. By the time I got to 9th grade, I was the strongest dude in my school by far.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna let you know, I made all those bullies pay. Every single one paid the piper. But what I was known for was never being a bully towards people, always protecting those that couldn't protect themselves. Because I shared this story with you when I was young, and I climbed to the mountain and I prayed to God and said, God, if you give me the strength of Samson, I'll protect myself and those who can't protect themselves.
Yeah.
So that was like my safety blanket, and that's always been my safety blanket. I mean, kid, I throw 455 pounds, 6 to 8 reps like cheesecake at Sports and Wellness, right? Weighing 212 pounds at the time. I mean, that pretty much tells you, right? How many guys do you know that are benching 455, right? 4 plates and a 25 on each side.
At 200 pounds.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's what it was. I mean, I could kick above the bars. I mean, that was my identity. And then I was very lucky. I trained with one of the greatest masters ever, right? And it just, well, martial arts is when you really know about martial arts, is a way of breaking the body down so that you can focus with your mind, right? And that's, you look at the Shaolin monks, they do martial arts to break their body down so that they can be one in silence, right? And so focus. And so I learned those two things, that if you break the body down, then your mind can think. You know, you get a hyperactive kid running for 2 miles and then say this to your, he's going to do it. You see what I'm trying to say?
Very much so. Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people nowadays talk about, the martial arts discipline in business. But can you give me some specific examples for you personally, how martial arts has helped shape how you go about business and how you execute in business?
Let's think about this, right? It's so in the West, you go in and you play a class and you go in and you're like getting these belts. In the East, when you train, you could be put in horse for over a month. So you're mastering the horse stance, then you're mastering the dragon stance, and you're learning like respect, and you're learning patience. The two basic big pillars in business is respect your customers, respect your employees, respect your product, and you got to be patient. Yeah. Like one of the craziest things I get with people is I watch these sales guys, and then they're calling you and they're thinking that they're being diligent, but they're actually killing themselves in the deal. Have the follow-up, but don't be so desperate that you're like, well, I don't want to work with that guy. What's wrong with him? Why should I work with him? You know, Fonzie always laughs and he says, the general's always ready to walk away from the deal because I don't need the deal. It's got to be beneficial for you and got to be beneficial for me.
Yeah.
So to circle back, it's my patience, right? And the respect I learned in martial arts is what makes me deadly in business.
Yeah, no, I agree. Are you still actively training in the gym consistently today? And if so, kind of what does your routine look like?
So me and Erica train Tuesday. So I train Monday. I help one of my good friends, one of the salsa twins, name's Jim. He owns El Pinto. I train him on Monday in weight training. I train legs with him. Tuesdays, I train back in chest and tries. Wednesday, I train shoulders isolation, and then I train back and buys on Thursday. And when my little boys, I have my little boys in there, right? And so I'm training, and so what I do in between the sets, I'm hitting the bags, and I'm just always training. That's how I've been. I don't really need a lot of rest, so I train more like a fighter, very explosively. So my whole thing is that whole strength training, but still keeping that explosive motion, right? So it's more of an overall health. Now what I'm trying to what I'm trying to add on now is more walking. And so that explosive time, I'm going to be 47 years old. You got to like train smart at this point, right? I'm already muscle packed. So my whole thing is, it's like money. You do it early, you'll keep it for a long time. It's just maintenance versus trying to build a lot, right? 12 years old till now.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, just maintaining that. Yeah. So, you've said this before, but your business strategy is devastating to any competitor because of martial arts. And so I just wanted to kind of get your...
Well, it's not even just martial arts. It's a combination of both martial arts and bodybuilding, because the discipline that bodybuilding gives you is like, it's a simple mathematic, right? It's how much weight you can lift consistently, matched by nutrition, matched by rest. Those three things together. You can go in and lift all day long, and if you don't have the nutrition, you're not going to grow. You're actually going to hurt your body. If you lift like a crazy man and you eat perfect and you don't rest, your body's not going to repair. The mythology, my favorite guy that I like to follow is Michael Hearn. I think Michael Hearn is one of the baddest dudes on the planet. 57 years old, almost 60, looks like a phenom. People are like, oh, he does this. It doesn't matter. Genetic freak, but he's been consistent. And you watch what he talks about, and it's like, at the end of the day, you don't build muscle in the gym. You build muscle when you rest.
Yeah.
Right? And that's, if you don't understand the science, then you're not going to achieve it. If we don't understand the science of business, you're not going to achieve it, right? Business is very simple. I have a product or a service that somebody needs, not wants, make it a need.
Yeah.
I can sell it and make profit on it. And then I got repeat customers coming back. Same thing, right? Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Life is a simple thing, right? In math, you can only add, subtract, multiply, and divide. That's it. When you start getting algebra, calculus, it's just now the order of operation. But you still can't do anything different than add, subtract, multiply, and divide. It's the same. You see, we tend to want to make things more complex. My grandmaster once said, he says, we learn to take complexity to simplicity.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Have you met somebody who always wants to make a mountain out of a molehill? Like they have a small little thing. Oh my God. And they call them the excuse, and they got an excuse for everything. Run from those fuckers. Yeah. All they are is dead weight.
Yeah.
Right? And that goes for females too. Females, run from that, because that's the story. Me, dude, Cade, if you're on this side of the grass and you have your health, you already won. You're 90%. You can be the richest guy in the world and you're sick, it doesn't matter. Right? Yeah. So I think sometimes like we get these lessons and we get these awakenings. So people ask me, Jack, have you seen the new car that came out or this or that? And I was telling someone the other day, I said, like, you listen. I said, buddy, I'm at the point in my life, it's about quality of life. Mm-hmm. I was blessed that I was able to buy time and I didn't have to just be a slave to anybody in time. I got freedom, but technically now where I'm at is like staying healthy and being a badass so that my sons can witness it. Not from pictures, not from stories, but witness it. So my goal is just maintaining my health at a high level.
Yeah. I think it's funny because I think that's what happens to a lot of successful people. As you know, they get into their older age, they're like, I have the money, I have everything, and now all I care about is being able to enjoy it and live my life.
Yeah. But kid, I've been living like a rock star for over 20 years, right? I was blessed to do what most people won't do at 25 years old. So like for me, it's like why I feel happy in my soul is that I have lived it on the top of the game for 20 years. Right? Think about that. 20 years of success. Right? That doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
Right?
Very true.
So when you look at that, 17 years of owning exotic cars. You see what I'm trying to tell you? Yeah. That's where it's like crazy. I mean, I was looking the other day and I'm like, 7 years of owning jets. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Right? 40 years old and you're killing it.
Yeah, it's not as important to you anymore. As it was when you were young, man. Yeah.
What's important to me is that my sons are great men. Yeah. And that my household is up to par. That's what matters to me.
Yeah, very true. I want to go back to Harmonix a little bit and kind of talk. I know you guys work with a lot of, government entities and a lot of schools and stuff like that. And so kind of how did you break into that world? I know Intel probably did some of that when you were there.
No, Intel didn't do any of that. So you got to imagine when I was at Lucent, we were in that world. So I never changed. So that's why I say I mastered my craft. So Lucent was so monstrous. Lucent is like AT&T spun off Lucent, then they spun off Avaya, Experience. Monstrous, right? The number one phone company. I was already doing that. I was already working on schools. I was already working in governments. I was already working in the Air Force. It didn't change. It's like coming in and mastering basketball and you just change the uniform. This is why it's so important that you get out there when you're young, figure out your craft and stop fucking around because time will catch up to you. I just started mastering my craft at 16 years old immediately. And I wasn't dream catching like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. No, I didn't give a shit about that. Yeah. Right? I started in the industry making $12.50 an hour. Right? Yeah. And I just finished telling you, I made over $500,000 to $800,000 on my tax return.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say? So that fundamentally, I mastered my craft. When I started Harmonix, I was already a master chef. Yeah. I wasn't trying to create a startup and then prove to the world that I'm a master chef, give me a shot. So maybe my style of entrepreneurship is different. Yeah. Right? It's kind of like you're already a master mechanic for Porsche and then you start your business and they're like, well, that guy was the master mechanic for Porsche. I'm taking my car there. Just a different shirt. He's charging less. Does that make sense?
I agree. Yeah. Do you think that there's big misconceptions that people have with working with the government, contracting with the government?
Elaborate more. What do you mean by misconceptions?
Just like average people, like they just things that are true of working with the government that they don't understand or that they just kind of blows over their head. Like anything you see from your position, you know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, most people think that, working with the government's easy or there's all this red tape or,
I think at the end of the day, there's red tape everywhere. I think on the government side, you got one shot, you screw up, you're out, you're not going to work again. And I think that you're held to a higher level. And I think that at the end of the day, like breaking into the government space is probably the hardest space to break in.
Yeah.
But if you're in, right? It's like, it's the combine. It's like, once you get to the combine, am I going to get to the NFL? That's pretty much what it is. But anything's hard to break into, right? You just got to put the work. So it doesn't matter if it's the government. It doesn't matter if it's state. You got to put the work in to break in, bottom line.
Very much so. Yeah. I think I already know the answer to this, but I want to ask for people watching. What's your sales infrastructure at Harmonix? Do you have a team that's going out and trying to get new business, or is it just your reputation in the business kind of naturally comes to you?
So we started off with all ground pound sales kind of force, and now we have, I call it more inside sales, but Harmonix is so known in what we do. We're like the Mayo Clinic. Yeah. So you're just coming to us, and we operate on like big contract vehicles. So I guess if I want to get commercial business, you would go out there and get commercial. But I've grown literally word of mouth. And at the beginning, I was a hunter, right? Imagine you're an engineer and your knowledge is so high, and you're competing against salespeople and you're just slaughtering them. So the analogy I like to give people is, I'm in the NFL, baddest running back you've ever seen, and I'm running against high schoolers.
Yeah.
Don't stand a chance. Right. And so I always like to create unfair advantages against my competition.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. That's the best way to do it. Might as well
be the best.
Yeah. You've talked a lot about your 10 simple rules to life and success. And so I've studied them a while back, but I kind of wanted to ask you, for other people, if you could just give, a short rundown of their rules.
So my 10 rules of success, I'm going to give you the one that matters the most. Okay. That's really huge in my opinion, is people's opinions cannot be cashed at the bank, right? Because at the end of the day, we are all self-serving in what we want. And I think that if I could, of all the rules, if I could be like the number one right there, is you literally, who gives a shit what your neighbor thinks, what good your friend, just be the best you can be at yourself. Because I promise you, those people are only going to think about you for 15 seconds. And I used to have a famous line. I was very crude. I'd be like, when the general wakes up in the morning, he does not give a fuck what anybody thinks about it. I only care about what I think about myself. And my work and my perfectionism and my talents are going to speak for themselves. Like, that's why Lamborghini, Bugatti, Koenigsegg, they do not have commercials. Because their architecture speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
So that's who I am, right? And so that's the number one. I created the 10 rules of success because they wanted me to be on this big board, and I got onto the board for BT Research, and I was flying to Houston, Texas, and I'm like, dude, these bios are just too much. And so I literally got one day and said, you know what? I'm going to build the 10 rules of success, and this is who I am. This is it. And I remember presented it, and one of the guys on the board was a general. He was like a 2-star general. And when he read those, he's like, holy smokes, these are freaking exceptional. And I mean, it was a big one. I mean, which rule stands out to you, Kate?
I like all of them. I think one of my favorites is what you said. I like the one about credit. I think that's super important. People over leverage themselves. And then I think for me, the one that's above the rest is rule number 1, let your word be your bond. And, do what you say. Don't say you're going to do something, do it. And then I also like over deliver, that one a lot.
Yeah. Under commit, over deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for all the viewers, I'll link all of his 10 rules in his video explaining them down below. I guess a question I have for you, maybe any period in your life, I'm sure now, you, like you said, you thought about the rules and you thought about who you are and created the rules. But has there been any of those 10 rules that you've struggled with at times in your life?
Kid, I think the struggle that I've had in my life is the rules is not from my rules. I think that anger used to be my weakness. And so I would use anger as my driving force. And I think that in anger, you're just killing your body, right? And I think that you can't make good decisions. So I think for me, that was really something I've worked with over because of my childhood, of the bullying, I think that it was. And so anger is like being drunk. It gives you an instantaneous kind of feeling. I think that's what I battled. But now, I mean, I'm too calm. Like, I mean, nothing really gets under my skin. No, I'm a guy who just believes in the old school way of just get it done. Don't make excuses. Now is the moment. Strike now, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you get up and the weather's good, mow your fucking lawn. Don't wait for tomorrow because it might rain. And now it rains, now the grass is heavy. Now the lawnmower can't work. So just strike immediately. Strike as the iron is hot. That's when you strike, right now.
Very much so. Which do you think of those 10 rules has made you the most money?
All of them. You can't, there's not one of them that can make you the money.
Yeah.
They all work basically in conjunction.
Yeah.
Right?
Very much so. Yeah. If someone is, their life is falling apart, their business is falling apart, they have relationships that are broken, do you think that there's a specific rule that they can focus on first to kind of start getting out of that, or same thing?
Same thing. They all worked. You think about this. If something's broken in your life and you sit in silence and you really start to realize what's broken, you know the answer. You just don't want to identify it and you want to make an excuse. The number one thing I said, it's just going to shit in your life, sit in front of the mirror and be truthful with yourself and ask yourself, was I the problem or were they the problem? And the way it's just kind of work down really quick, right? If you're in 10 relationships and your 10 relationships fail, is it you or is it them?
It's you.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have 5 credit cards and 5 credit cards send you out for collections, is it the credit card or is it you?
Yeah.
Okay. See, everything in life is super simple, right? It's like, what are you putting out and what are you getting? You know, one of the funniest things I hear, Key, that I just want to fucking laugh my ass off. Oh my God, you should see how healthy I eat, and I'm eating so healthy, and man, I train and I walk 10,000 steps, and you're 300 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't argue with stupid. Yeah. What I love about bodybuilding and what I love about fitness and what I love about martial arts is that I can fact check you on the spot.
Very true.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you walk in and you're 300 pounds, I know you're not eating right and I know you're not training right.
Yeah, very true.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I like about that. Or you get all these guys and it's so funny because they're like talking all this game. Always watch the loud guy that's telling you, I got this, I got that, I got this, I got that. They don't got shit. They're trying to sell you. Be careful with the quiet guy. I mean, your first experience with me, you don't hear me say shit.
Yeah.
Right? People, like, you look at my social media and, most of it's been from like the past, but I would just show people glimpses. Right? But no one's ever seen the Thor hammer. No one knows my capacity. Right? And so that's where that mysterious kind of stays in there. Then it's like, well, how big of a Thor hammer can you really put? Yeah. Right?
Very true.
How many years has he been relevant? And that's why I throw those numbers, 17 years, 20 years, right? You can walk to my building. You can knock you can see it right there, huge. Yeah. Right there. That's the things that I talk about, not this selling a dream.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, show me. Actions speak louder than words.
Very true.
And so I think that if people just focused on actions and not words, people will talk your name for you. I can make a bold statement. You can ask 1 of the 3 people in this city if they know Lambo Jack or the General. I promise you, they'll tell you. In some way, they'll have some story, good or bad. But mostly good, hopefully.
Yeah. But all press is good press.
But do you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, no, I agree. And I've seen that, you know what I mean? When I first met you, getting to know you a little bit, but then as the years have passed, talking to other people, like you said, I agree with that. Most people know who you are versus don't. Yeah.
And so I've never tried to do that. That just happened organically because I've just focused on moving the needle forward.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about Young Millionaires. I know that's something that, you've started to kind of create a legacy and to live, or you've kind of created it to kind of improve other people's lives. Kind of talk to me about where you're at with that and what your goal with that program is.
I started Young Millionaires because, I used to get so many DMs and I couldn't answer all of them. And I just said, I'm going to start Young Millionaires and it's going to tell me in a nutshell, what the process is. And so I created it and I put it, and then I worked with multiple people, and it's like, we've had a lot of roadblocks, and I feel, but the problem is like I haven't fully put all the focus on it. And I think that young millionaires, even in the beginning, how it was catchy and all that, has a lot of fire. It's like a fire burning underground, and once it catches flames, it's game over, right? But young millionaires is really the pillars, the 4 pillars of success, right? Mind, body, spirit, financial success, right? You master those, financial success just comes. And my goal is to really put together some type of program that someone can look at it from like a very small perspective and be like, this is what I can do. And so Ken Rose, or sitting down with the business and saying, you know what, you sit with me for 2 hours, it'll be the best money you ever spent in your life, because I'm going to be able to assess what you're trying to do and either save you from mortgaging your house or doing something stupid. And you might be like, no, like Shark Tank, and say, this doesn't make any sense, right? I get all these harebrained guys, oh, can you invest? No, I don't invest. I'm like Mark Cuban. I want to see 2 years of financials and what you've done before you come talk to me. I'm not a startup guy.
Yeah.
Like what you saw Harmonix. It wasn't a startup. It was already wheels of motion. I just changed jerseys.
Very true. Yeah. And what's your structure for, your end goal of the program? Is it kind of one-on-one, group, online?
I haven't figured that out, Kay, to be honest with you. It's really up in the air. And I feel like when the time comes, it's going to just go to the next level.
Yeah. No, I agree. One other question I have about the structure is, are you planning to have it be a paid thing or something that's free?
It's going to be both.
Okay.
Right. But one thing I've experienced, Kate, in my life is that you offer somebody free training, they won't take it serious.
Very true.
They pay for the training and they take it serious, because the human mind is like, if I just get the free experience, you're not going to do it. If you want the VIP experience at Disneyland, I just did it. I flew my friends and family on my jet. I flew all the way to California. I did it. I spent $800 an hour for the VIP experience. Well, it wouldn't be the VIP experience if you didn't pay the $800 an hour.
Yeah.
And there's a huge list for it. It was started after the Kardashians, right? So I think that for me, it's like, do I want to cater just to the Jacks, the Kardashians, and that level of people, or do I want to do that? So I want to have 2. What I care about is the youth. That's what I give a shit about. The youth and inspiring you enough. So I want to give you enough so then when you're ready and you're doing things, you can get to here. So I want, like Disneyland, you can buy the general pass and get you in for the experience, or you can get here and you're serious, you're getting into the combine. And I think that that's what the structure really is going to be.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. I know you've worked with a few, different people. This is kind of a chance for you to give someone a shout out if you want. What's a transformation that you've been kind of the most proud of a young man you've worked with, or a man that you've worked with?
That always someone where I've touched them and they're like just blown up. I got a lot. So I'm gonna tell you 2 guys that really stand out to me is Abdil Ramirez. He came into Harmonix. I literally worked with him, and now he's like number 4 at Amazon on the AS side. And dude's got he's an owner or partner of his own yacht. I mean, his own thing. I mean, think about that, right? Another guy, Michael Gutierrez, he started off and he's a defense contractor in California, just blowing to the socks, right? One guy I mentored early on, the name was Ross. He is like number 2 at HP at the time in production. Things like that. And people are going to be mad, right? I got so many people I've touched, Kay, that it's hard to say. And then there's smaller measurables, but those are the ones that where you're like, oh, crap. Like, one thing about the best thing Abdil told me is like, you prepared me for New York. You prepared me for Boston.
Good.
And General, if you came to Boston and you came and you started the business here, you would just dominate, because that's your mindset. And to me, that's the flex. When I walk away and someone that I've trained that comes out of Harmonix and all of a sudden they've destroyed it. I mean, I got another guy that ran with me forever. His name is Saul. He went out and is killing at the laboratories. Nikki, oh my God, Nikki, what a fucking success story, right? Making over 6 figures, killing it in what she's doing. But it was literally that piece of just that grind and like saying, man, you made me cry 10 times. because I don't let up. I don't let you bullshit yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
It's just so much. My greatest student is my vice president, right? Literally brought it to the ranks and just destroying it. And I mean, I retired. She was one of the originally fought in people. I retired us by the time we were 30 years old. I mean, we're set. Like, you know what I'm trying to tell you? There's so many people I've touched along the way that it's like, there's so many to name. But I mean, one of the things you should ask is, hey, if Jack's touched you in any type of way, make a comment, send a message, share your story.
Yeah.
Good, right, or indifferent, right? Yeah. I'm you know what's crazy? I tell people I'm like Genghis Khan, right? And they ask, why do you say that, Jack? I said, Genghis Khan has one of the most fiercest quotes ever, and I'm going to chop it up my way. But basically he says, what did you do to piss God off to have it put you in my path? I mean, that just, all right. And I tell people, for some reason, I cross your path in two ways. You prayed really hard and you need a leg up, or you've been fucking off too much and I have to crush you. Two reasons only. Yeah. And I've taught a lot of people lessons in life, right? If you do stupid shit, you get the Thor hammer. Yeah. You do good stuff, I'm always here to help. But I want to be a righteous man. That's what I care about, right? Fair and righteous.
Yeah. If for young millionaires and just kind of your mindset in business and entrepreneurship in general, who would you say that's not for? Like, who is someone that, you know, if you're just lazy, or if you have this trait, or if you're doing this in life, then just...
if you don't have resilience and you can't start something and finish it and do it over and over and over and over again and not see, and you're not looking for the instant rice, you're the guy who, you know what, like I was, one of my famous running jokes to people is, instant rice fucked up society, because anyone can make good rice with instant rice. And before instant rice, you had to really know how to cook rice in order to make a good rice. So then you became a master of your rice, or your bread, and you had to really be good at making bread. But now there's instant bread, so it makes anybody mediocre look good. So if you don't have the tenacity, the resiliency, the dedication to do something, you're not going to be an entrepreneur, right? You're not even going to be a good employee. Be a good employee first, and then show that for 3 years, and then talk about starting a business.
I think what a lot of people don't realize is that, you know, everyone's in the mindset because of social media, the society we live in, that they want to be their own boss, but they don't realize that you're not gonna, if you can't listen to someone else telling you what to do, then you're not going to be able to tell yourself what to do. You're just going to be lazy and not get it done.
We all have bosses. My customers are my bosses. Period. Like you're walking around thinking that you're going to just try to swim upstream. That's just dumb. That's one of my 10 rules right there. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, dress for success. Don't try to swim upstream, right? Like, if you're there and you're like, well, I want to express myself, and you tat up your neck and you're all tatted up all over the place, and then you want to get this great job, and the person hiring you is in their mid-50s, or like, let's say their 60s. In my time, like, that was a no-no, right? One of the greatest stories I have is I used to wear 2 earrings in my left ear. And I remember meeting one of the most influential women in the United States. She happened to be here, named Anna Muller. She owned the Crest Building. She ran the 80 program in the United States, appointed by President Nixon. And I remember she took a liking to me, and we're sitting in her office, and she makes me tea. She leans over and she's looking right at my ear. And I was like, didn't say a word, but I was in the most uncomfortable position ever. I came home at the time, the girl that I was dating, I said, you know what, I'm not gonna wear earrings anymore. She's like, why not? I said, just not gonna do it. Took 2 diamond earrings, VS1s, like expensive at the time. Took them out, put them away, never put them in. And I was like, because she's not gonna take me serious. Because that generation didn't take you serious. That generation was like, that's why when I was in the service, you couldn't put any tattoos under your sleeves, right? So where your dress screens were, they couldn't have any tattoos, because the signification in the older generation is, if the tattoos are done, you've been to prison. So all of a sudden you've marked yourself. So it's like, I'm gonna paint my hair this, or, you know, I'm gonna do the whole shag shit or all that. No, like you're being judged, and don't make it hard for yourself. You're not being expressive. You're being a stupid fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And so don't swim upstream.
Yeah. Well, and I think society has become more accepting of those things, but in a high level room, the same things are still true.
But this is what I always like to say, right? How do you categorize society? And this is it. The bottom 10%, the 80%, and then the top 10%, and then in that top 10%, there's the top 5, the top 3, the top 2, and the top 1. I promise you that in that top 10%, you're not being accepted.
Yeah.
Right? True. Very rare. Right? You could be eccentric, you could be weird like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But it's not going to work for you.
Most of the time.
I'm going to hedge the bet. If you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? I'm not the end all be all either.
Yeah. Very true. You said that, faith in God heals the mind and the mind heals the body. It's a very powerful statement. And so I kind of want to talk to you about how your faith developed. I know you talked about, growing up and at a young age. Do you remember a specific moment when your faith kind of solidified for yourself, or was it just kind of something?
I think inherently when you're born, because we're born in God's image, right? We're made in his image. I think the Holy Spirit always lives in our mind. I think it's like a flame. And I think as you feed it, the flame gets bigger. And as you feed that, the flame gets bigger. Just like your muscles, they get bigger. Just like your bank account, it grows. And I think we're brought to this world to do great things. Because if in my belief, if we are built in God's image, then it's limitless for us. So I think that flame starts so early. But my mom was a very faithful woman. And, we're going to church and I'm watching that by example. So for me, it was just inherent. Like, I remember I used to love to pray at night, and my grandma used to say these beautiful prayers, and I would try to learn them, and I would forget all the time. And I think that was really the thing for me. And I just was like, I knew when I went to church, I felt good. It's like going to the gym. You can do a home workout and it works, and you're there. But when you go to that gym, it's a little different, right? Yeah. I think that's cool. I've always wanted to own my own chapel, right? Like my own personal chapel that I go pray in. That's one thing I really want to do, like something just blow your socks off. But I think when you go to church every Sunday, you're sitting there with your peers, you're just channeling that energy, you're praying. I think it just brings that good sauce. So that's what I got to get back to.
Yeah, I agree. When you're making a major business decision, like a big hire or a risky contract, how does your faith kind of expressly direct your decisions in that realm?
I always pray about things, but so it's like, you can't pray to God only when you need something. You got to continuously be in God's presence 24/7.
Yeah.
When it's going good, you give him glory. When it's going bad, you give him glory. Yeah. Right. And so you continue to just kind of be in that mindset, and you're just like, we pray every night at home. At night, we pray every night. And my prayer is this: God, arm me with the Holy Spirit armor, guide my thoughts, guide me through everything, and if it's your will, let it happen. So it takes everything it's not on my hands, right? And so does that mean I just take the wheels off and it's like, no, that's not what God wants. God wants us to have the faith, but he wants us on earth to start tracking our best forward. So lift the weights every single day, and then the results. So, right? One of my favorite stories in the Bible is about the coins, right? Mm-hmm. How one put them in the dirt, one multiplied them all. Best story ever. So God wants you to have faith, but he wants you to put action to it. Not just sit there and be like, send me a. One of my famous stories I tell people is one time this guy, he's sitting there, he's like, I'm going to pray to God. I have so much faith. And there was a big rainstorm and the house started flooding. And so he's got on his roof and he's praying and he's seeing all these people move, and a log passes by. And he's like, should I jump up? No, I'm going to pray. Then he saw a boat, and the boat was like, swim to us, we'll pull you in. Nope, I'm going to pray about it. Then he saw a helicopter. Helicopter comes in, throws a rope, he has to jump. He's not going to do it. Oh, I'm going to pray about it. Yeah. And then he drowns. Then he's like, he's up in heaven, and God said, God, why didn't you save me? God said, what did you want? I sent you a log. I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter.
Yeah. I think a lot of people think he's going to do a miracle in their life, and he does at times, but most of the time you have to take action.
The miracle is the light bulb turning in your head to move in action. You have to move, right? We have to move, period.
Yeah, and in the beginning, right, God told Adam and Eve, be fruitful and multiply. And I think obviously that means in children. I think that has a lot of other meanings.
Still in action.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah. You've talked about the mind-body connection, and so I kind of want to talk to you. A lot of people I don't think fully understand what that means. And so can you kind of explain that and draw that out for us?
Yes. So only the mind can heal the body, but only the spirit can heal the mind. Right? So if you're sitting here feeling sorry for yourself, the mind says, you know what? Okay, Jack, you have an intestinal issue. Go eat red chili and greasy shit. The mind says that and the body follows. Dumb shit, right? Then you're sitting here and you've done everything right, and now you maybe feel a little scared. You're like, what's going on? Then you pray, and then you're gonna pray and say, you know, please heal my fears. I'm gonna leave it on to you. Then it takes your mind away. So then you're able to leave that at church. I think that one of the greatest things is I was in this lawsuit with one time with this municipality, and I'm ready to just do some horrible shit. And I remember it's Easter Sunday, and the anger in my soul was just next level. And I remember the pastor delivers this passage, and he said, when Jesus was going to be delivered, the Pharisees, one of the apostles drew his sword, cut his ear. And then Jesus got his ear and healed it, and he looked at his apostle and he says, if I wanted to, I'd call upon my Father, and 10,000 angels would come upon this earth. Mm. Here Jesus is going to be crucified, and he could call a legion. And biblically they say what one angel can do. And I thought there, and right in that moment, that anger just left. And I said, you're not even going through like a micro millimeter of what Jesus is going through. And you want to just bring action. And yeah, he says, I could call upon 10,000 angels. That's all I needed. But if I wouldn't have been there, that wouldn't have touched me right there. And so when I left that moment, I was like, wow, that's such a powerful thing. So there's my mind with all these stupid thoughts. My body's about to commit it. I'm there. I pray. I'm in church, and the message gets delivered, and I just feel like just healed it instantaneously.
Yeah.
Walked out of there and said, you know what? Let it happen the way it happened. And it all turned out good, and it happened in my favor.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Praise God. He works in mysterious ways. Sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You've said that your grandfather told you a story, you know, that life is like building a brick wall. You lay the foundations and the bricks are straight, and then the rest of the wall will be built high and strong. And so I guess that very clearly stuck with you. And I guess why do you think that lesson landed so hard?
That life goes through anything. Have you ever built anything, Kate?
Yeah.
What have you built?
Walls.
Okay. Yeah. So what happens like when someone comes out and you build a wall, if you start off crooked an inch off here and you span 200 feet, how off do you think you're going to be at the 200 feet level?
A lot. 200 feet maybe.
Major, right? Yeah. So let's just mathematically. So if I'm off 1 inch here, by the time I get to 200 feet, I'm going to be off 6 inches. Right? 6 inches off. So if I start my wall and it's 6 inches off, is that going to work for you? Start off like shit. Yeah. And the end result's not going to hold. Yeah. Right? So that's life. If you start off with good choices, one good choice, another good choice, another good choice, another good action, you're building a good foundation. So therefore, your wall and your brick road is going to be straight. Yeah. So if you start just making good choice after good choice, it's literally the compound effect. Yeah. And you make so many good choices that now it's literally that compound. It's like I call it the Roth IRA of life, right? Just make good choices. If you do stupid choices and you lay the bricks fucked up, you're not going to have anything to build on. That you're going to build in time, and then it's going to collapse. And if it collapses within you in the house, then you're just toast, or it collapses on whatever. But imagine now you have to clean up. Now you have to clean up the mess and start from scratch. How much wasted time is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And time is one of the most valuable things we have.
Hands down, right? You look at what I've done in my life, like for young men, I was not there chasing tail. I was like, I'm going to chase success, money, brains. I'm going to build a pond so good that butterflies are going to want to land there. Right? So you built the environment so that you feel good about yourself. You feel convicted. You feel convicted of your life, like of your achievements. So no one can say A, B, and C. Like no one's going to come to me and tell me you're not successful. I'm going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you ain't Warren Buffett and you ain't Michael Hearn, I don't care about your advice. Right? One thing that I want to touch on, when people are giving me advice, you got to be careful because sometimes advice is really to set you up. And so I look at someone across the table and they're criticizing me, and I say, would I trade my life for yours? No. The answer for me, 98% of the time is a fuck no.
Yeah.
Right? You're a moron. If I'm sitting across the table from Michael Hurd and he says, dude, would I trade my physical for his? Abso-fucking-lutely. If I'm sitting with Warren Buffett and he says, I want to trade, if you do this, would I trade my financial status with Warren Buffett? Absolutely. Right? If I'm sitting across Elon Musk, would I trade my intelligence for his? Absolutely. So anything intellectually he has to tell me, I'm going to listen. Anything Warren Buffett has to tell me financially, I'm going to listen. Anything Michael Hearn is going to tell me from a physical level, I'm going to listen. I take the dumbass that's drunk and fat and looks like shit, and he's giving me advice for bodybuilding, I'm not even going to listen. Don't answer a fool upon his foolishness. You got the broke dude, oh, do the next big thing. This is the money that could be made. We're both here. I'm going to laugh at you in my soul. I'm not going to say anything. I'll say, oh, sure, I'll get back to you. I'm never going to get back to you.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I think that's a principle, thankfully, that I've lived in the majority of my adult life is if someone's not doing something or in a position of life that you want to be in, then why are you going to listen?
Yeah, I'm not going to listen. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I want to kind of talk about your cars a little bit. I know that you've got at least 4 Lamborghinis, and your Instagram is Lambo Jack. So my question with that is, why Lamborghini specifically?
Because one of my first cars, I went right for the Gusto. Lamborghini Murcielago Roadster, $500,000 sticker price. I had killed it. Someone reward myself, bought it in cash. Took my best friend, took a backpack in cash, bought it, wanted to do it like DMX, one of those funny things. And when I brought that car, at that time, that car was the hypercars. There was no hyper. That was it. There was so I showed my success, and I didn't start with the one. I got the one. And when I got there at the time, Lamborghini Newport was small, and it was the top of the game. It was like on this turntable. And I remember that they had given Kim Kardashian a ride in it, and they had given Kanye West a ride in it. So at that time, I was blowing through it. My success was like next level. So I'm sitting with these A-list celebrities at this spot. And so Lamborghini was huge. And the reason I became Lamborghini in 2012, I met a man named Ron Quinones. He became one of my best friends. 2014, he died of pancreatic cancer. And when I took him for a ride, he laughed and he said, he was like 54 years old at the time. And I'm like 32. And he's like, Lambo Jack. I'm not going to call you the gentleman. I'm calling you Lambo Jack. And that's how it stuck with me, right? And then people just became, and then when I started going up to California and I do these road rallies, people just loved it. And they'd be like, Lambo Jack's just killing it. And I'd just be smoking people, right? We'd be in all these rallies and I'd place number 1 every single time in a Lamborghini. Then in 2012, the 458 Italia had come out and they're like, oh my God, this car's going to do A, B, and C. We did this run. I smoked the shit out of it. Pushed like 200, blew by this car. 2008 Lamborghini, that's a 2012, 2013, I think, whatever it was. It had to be 2012, 2011, whatever. And it just showed that. But the story behind Lamborghini with Federici stood out to me because that's who I am. Same thing like Enzo. Bad respect for those men. They're both engineers. Federici was like, hey, Enzo, you need to get this clutch up to par. He's like, fuck you, you're a tractor maker, you know shit. You look at that. So, but then I look at what the brands stand for. I'm Lamborghini. I'm raw. I'm natural. I'm dirty. It's like, I'm here to grind, but I'll eat a cheeseburger. I'm not just looking for the high life. And so the brand became me. The car became me. And I just enjoy it, right? And that's what it is really for me. I mean, I'm in the financial position to buy any car.
Yeah.
From Lamborghini to hypercars. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you, but you can guess what one of the second largest jets costs, right? But Lamborghini is a lifestyle for me. And Lamborghini has treated me very well. The Lamborghini brand has treated me very well. And I made a lot of friends and I had a lot of good times. And that's why Lamborghini for me is really, really, again, 20 years, almost 17 years in the game.
Yeah. Are you planning to get any of their new generation, like the Temerario, Revuelto, the electric ones?
You never know with me, Kate. The thing about it, you look up one day and it's like this, right? And so right now, like I'm buying up a lot of properties and, setting on my kids. That's what matters to me. The reality is this, I probably won't do anything right quick because my boys are too small and I want to enjoy them. But the reality is, dude, I'm running 5 deep. What am I going to do with a 2-seater?
Yeah, very true.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why we got that's why I got Jack. That's why I titled the name, the Lamborghini Urus Performante in his name, right? Youngest Lamborghini owner ever, right? So that's what matters to me, right? And so like, dude, if they sold a Hellcat minivan, I'd probably own it.
Yeah.
Because I got roll 5 deep, right? But that's why I roll on the TRX.
Yeah.
1,000 horsepower TRX.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Is your car collection part of your business strategy? Like, does it help at all with closing deals? I'm sure probably not with Harmonix, but are you kind of thinking that with, with young millionaires, or is it just?
So I want you to think about this, okay? I want you to think about this. Buying a supercar, if you can afford it, is probably the best decision you're ever going to make because it can solidify. It brings like almost instant fame. And so when I got the Lamborghini Murcielago, I got invited to the concourse by Jerry Rail himself. And people were crazy to try to sign up to get there. It was one of the biggest car shows at his mansion, $300,000 raising a year. I won the People's Choice Award right away. Biggest award you could do. I've won that thing back to back. No one's ever won it twice. I won it twice. I won it with the Lamborghini Murcielago, and I won it with the SV Roadster. That means a lot to me. That was one of the biggest flexes in the world, right? I go with these guys. So yes, what it does, what Lamborghinis and big houses and all that, it just at a point, it's like a billboard. When you pull out a billboard, it tells you you've made it. That's it. You know what I'm trying to say? So yes, it does help because they look at the assets. Like you've been into one of my facilities, I display some of the cars, and when you're sitting there, it doesn't matter if you're a general or a head of state or a school or this, guys are guys, and they love cars. And when you're able to show them what you got and you see the facility, you've been to my facility. I mean, my facility is probably one of the most expensive internal facilities ever built, right? They call it a mansion in a commercial building, right? I think it's close to like 6,000 square feet of personal office, right? Absolutely, buddy. They walk in, they see that, they're like, this guy's not going anywhere. Yeah. It just solidifies you're the best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. If you could just choose one car that you have today, what would you choose?
Can't do it. Can't do it. It's just, I don't have to do that. So I don't limit myself to those decisions. But like if I was coming up in the game now and I had to be realistic, if I was a young man, I'd probably work to buy like a TRX truck, to be honest, because now you got everything. You got like supercar power. You can go off road. You can throw your shit in the back. You can pull a small like it makes sense. So that's what I would do. Rolling around like every car's like a tool. It all has its a separate advantage, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You've been on the board of Los Ojos de la Familia for 14 years, right?
Yep.
Grassroots nonprofit helping families in New Mexico with scholarships, education, support. What kind of drew you to that work, and what got you involved?
My best friend Michael. Michael's one of my best friends. He's the founder of that place. He called me up. I saw what these guys are doing. He is a guide for me in the sense of that he's made me want to be a better man. I've never seen a man that just gives and doesn't want any recognition whatsoever.
Okay.
Michael's the owner of CGI. They're a super known grading and paving company. And I got to tell you that like the reason I got is like that guy makes me a better man. And so that's why I got behind it, and that's why I do it, and that's why I continue doing it, is solely because of my relationship with him.
That's awesome. Yeah. Can you tell me about a story about a time where there was a specific family or kid that you guys helped and
oh my God,
really stuck out to you?
I'm gonna tell you, this is gonna blow your mind. So we do the big basket event. We love it. 500 to 600 families. This they got areas that are like people are afraid of, and I don't give a shit. You already know me. So they choose an area. It's me and William, Diana, my godson, and they give us a list, and we're like just going on I-25. And we're laughing because we get coffees and donuts and we're on fucking GPS and one's using Apple Maps and the other one's using it. So it's just, we get to this one house. And I remember walking in and it's like dark and a lady comes out and is like, well, will you help us with it? I said, ma'am, you were selected. Someone nominated you and you're going to get a basket and there's toys and all that. And I remember this boy comes out. He looks at me and says, sir, we're going to have Christmas. Dude, I almost had to hold it together. I was about to just cry right on the spot. And the lady's like, can you please help me? The basket, I said, what do you want? I said, can you come in? And I remember coming in and there's like 2 or 3 people like on the floor. And I walk over but I just keep my head high, like nothing. I put the thing on and the lady's like, she was just like, couldn't believe it. She's like, we're going to celebrate Christmas. And dude, I'm fucking blown away. Okay. When I walk in, I see on her, like they had like a little mantle and there was JFK, a picture of Jesus. And I was like, these guys are trying hard. So she's like, sir, please, can I ask you for a favor? And I said, sure. It's like, can I get a picture of you with us? And I said, absolutely. I always remember I was wearing a black leather jacket. And she's like, you look like Jean-Claude Van Damme. And so I get in there, the little boy comes in, he's all cute, and we take a picture. The following year, one of the drivers got sick, and they're like, hey, can you do this route? This place ends up on our route again. And I remember the address. I was like, holy smokes, this would be cool to see. So I roll up, they see me come in, and I'm blown away. And they're so happy, and the little boy's getting bigger, and he gives me a big old hug, and he's like, you're strong like Superman, and like, it doesn't get better than giving. Right. Same ritual. There's not that many people on the floor this time. It's just them. They do their thing. I look over, and on the mantle, it's JFK, Jesus, and a picture of me. That just fucking blew the socks off in my soul. And I said, I impacted this family so huge with Los Ojos that literally I'm the patron. I'm right there on the mantle with them. That was the mind blower for me.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make this shit up, right? And that's when I knew what we were doing was really touching families.
That's an awesome story to hear. Yeah. How do you balance running both businesses that you have, Harmonix, and then working on Young Millionaires, and then also being on the board, giving back to people of Los Ojos, and having a family? How has it been balancing all those things?
I have amazing people behind me, man. So, I mean, I got amazing staff. Like, I couldn't do it without my people. I think at the end of the day, I just have been blessed to have amazing people that share half my passion. As long as they have half my passion, it'll be good. And I'm a good dude. I'm just really good at like time management. And I don't, like, even like right now when I told you, like, you know what, come 5:45, I'm out, because I don't miss dinner with my kids, period. And like, I know I'm up early. You know, me and Erica, we spend all the time together drinking coffee. We talk about our stuff. I get to work. And so I literally just know that I need to put about 4 or 5 hours of solid work a day to maintain what I do. And then, you know, that working out, and then and it's really just planning. And if you consistently do that over 5 days, you're going to kill it. And then weekends, you know, I like to do a lot of lawn work. I got a big estate, right? So I'm out there cutting grass, having a good time, you know, mentoring people. And that's how I do. I mentor by work. And it's crazy because I got to sign up of all these young dudes. You know, Fonz one, like Destiny, but like there's a lot of guys that really like, hey, Jack, let me help you out. I would love to just learn from you, because it's a fun experience, right? So we do all this yard work, and then I have this extravagant breakfast. So you're eating on my estate of this extravagant breakfast, so you feel like you're part of a family. And that's why I do it, dude. Come on, I can afford a whole staff.
Yeah.
But the reason I do it is like, that's my way in keeping in touch with myself and the community. And when I'm out there, it's the closest I feel to God, right? Because I'm like right there, like just like, oh my God, we're just borrowing this. My sons will probably be here, hopefully, but then somebody else, and we're just borrowing that portion in time.
Yeah.
Right? That land's been there forever. How many people have stood in that land?
Very true. Yeah. What's something that you think that you've learned from your nonprofit work that helps you become better businessman?
Not hand in hand at all. I think that giving is the best thing you'll ever feel in your life, more than winning. So they don't even go hand in hand. It's like eating pasta to fuel yourself, and then you eat your high protein. It's giving. Denzel Washington said, when I watched this, the best thing he ever said is, you will never feel the greatest feeling in your life than when you help somebody and give. I promise you. And then the blessings you get from that tenfold. I have a good friend, he's battling cancer, and you know, he's in a bad financial, he lost his job, he was killing it, and me rallying people and be able to pay his house and get an apartment for him and know that he can go off to get this major surgery without having to worry about anything, it just gives you a sense of just purpose. Yeah. So what it fuels me is like, I just got to keep on making a lot of money so I can give a lot of money, help a lot of people, help myself, help my family. That's just my driving force, dude. Like, my driving force is my family and helping people. Like, the rest, I've already accomplished it. I don't, it doesn't get me fired up anymore.
Yeah.
Right? It really doesn't.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. It's good to always have, you know, family to drive you, because I think if that's what drives you, you'll never stop. Yeah. So Albuquerque isn't Silicon Valley. It's not Austin. It's not Denver, right? Obviously you chose here because this is where you're from.
Not really.
New Mexico? No?
No. So I was in Miami, Florida. You know, when I won the Young Entrepreneur Award, I could have moved Harmonix to Dallas and destroyed it. I come from generations of people that settled these lands, and it was more of a responsibility for me to continue and bring value to the state. I'm going to segue from this real quick a little bit, okay? When you told me to come on this podcast and you said, Jack, I was like, you know, I like Kate, I'm going to be in this podcast. But I'm going to tell you what my own selfish reason is. Okay. We get a lot of people coming, all these podcasters or whatever, come from out of state and then trash Albuquerque. And they paint Albuquerque in a way that they're there. And I'm here to tell you this. I want to say, you guys are stupid. I don't know what you're watching, and you take one subsection of Albuquerque and you want to put it on the screen. That's not good for me. You never interviewed me. You didn't come see my spot. I can tell you the successes of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Albuquerque, New Mexico is a sleeping giant. We have a lot of successful monsters here that are doing well, and the rest of the people that are coming here trying to clown on us, and the people that allow it or even clown on themselves is dumb. That's where we need to stop. So when you ask me what's the platform or what's my next thing is to say, you know what? Albuquerque is great. And if a self-made multimillionaire can live anywhere in any state, chooses to live in Albuquerque, it's because we got a lot of good shit happening here, period. That's the end of the story. So for me, that's literally the message. And so if you're out there featuring the war zone, give me a break, right? That doesn't make any sense, right? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I got places that rival any place. I don't care where you're at. Yeah. Right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, you just answered my next question, but you know, your family, like you said, has been here for generations. And so that was my next question is it almost a sense of responsibility to Albuquerque?
It's a sense of responsibility to the youth. All walks of life, all types, no matter, just the youth. And it's like, my goal is to show, look at what I've done mentally, physically, financially. You all can do it. Okay. Don't let what has happened in your life hold you back. Yeah. You can do it, period. Just like Nike. Yeah. Just do it.
Very true. Are you considering ever expanding more nationally and having more locations, or you purely want to just...
I had a national presence, a large national presence, right? I was in 6 different states. I'm at the point, Cade, where I'm at. It's like, is the juice worth the squeeze, and is my time worth it? At this point in my life, I've been very financially blessed, and so I don't need to do anything, right? I generated over $100 million before I was 30 years old. So, like, for me, do I want to be a billionaire? Absolutely. But will I trade my time with my family to become a billionaire? Probably not. But doesn't mean I haven't stopped. Yeah. I'm still in the lab like Dr. Dre, right? And so this is where I'm at, and I'll give you a little tidbit. I'm like Michael Jordan. Been playing golf. Now I'm back. The Last Dance. So I'm going to tell you that The Last Dance is going to make a huge impact. And that's why my competition is shaking now. Because guess what? Fast, strong, agile, I'm about to step back on the court. So I have a different purpose now. And before it was about me, what I thought in life, now it's about a legacy. A legacy for the state, a legacy for my family. So trust me, I'm coming to swing a bat.
Legacy for your boys, yeah. That was the next question I had is, with Harmonix, is your goal to eventually sell or to leave it for your kids?
I won't know till they're older, but it's whatever they want.
Yeah. There you go. That's a good answer. You said that you wanted to create a permanent legacy. You just said that now. And your goal with that, obviously, I think with Young Millionaires is to improve lives and to help people here. How do you kind of see success in that mission? Like, how do you measure success with that mission?
Kind of like we talked about. Look at the people we just mentioned. Yeah. Look at where they're at.
Yeah.
Right. If you're training out soldiers and they're winning every war, then your measurables there. Right. It's like who has not sat with me, who has not been in my environment and not gotten better. I don't know anybody.
Very true. What do you want people to say about you when you die, when you're gone?
That I was fair, and that I took time no matter what level I was for the common man. A lot of people have told me, as a big comment, they said, Jack, you're like the Rock. And I was like, what does that mean? He's all, you'll take time for anybody. You'll talk to anybody, and you're like the easiest dude to just be around, no matter how much money, no matter how success. And that's who it is the people's champion. That, I guess that's what sums it up. The people's champion.
Yeah, I agree fully. You've achieved a lot, multi-million-dollar businesses, the lifestyle, impacting a bunch of people's lives. What's left for you? What are still things that you want to accomplish that you have?
I think is like getting Young Millionaires to the next level, and really just building the most freaking awesome sons ever, dude. Right? Like, just that's really the thing for me.
Yeah.
To be able to watch just two titans just dominate.
It's awesome. Yeah. Well, at the end of every episode, we kind of do like a rapid fire. So I'm just going to ask you some rapid fire questions and give me whatever response you want. But it's been a pleasure hearing all of your wisdom. Every time I sit with you, it's awesome. Best business book you've ever read? It's a good one. Worst business advice you've ever received?
Worst business advice I ever received was, I wanted to make a move on a big deal. I can't mention it. And then I sat and I didn't make the move because the individual that I was sitting there wasn't in the position I told you. I didn't do it, and it cost me about $60 million.
Yeah, that's definitely an expensive one. Yeah. If you weren't in tech, is there an industry that you think you would be at?
No.
What's one business skill that you wish you were better at?
It wouldn't be a business skill. I thought the time in my life was just not taking things so personal, but then that was my driving force. So I really can't say. So I don't, it's pretty much honing what I got.
That's good. Morning routine. What's the first thing that you do when you wake up?
Thank God for all my blessings.
What do you like better, coffee or tea?
Both.
That's good. Biggest waste of money that you've ever spent in business?
People.
If you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos.
There you go. What's one thing about you that would surprise people that you've not super public about, maybe? That might be a hard one because you've talked a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's one. I'm a pretty open book. What you see is what you get.
Yeah, heck yeah. Last question. If someone is listening to this right now and they feel stuck, they're struggling, or they don't know, how they can make it, what's the one thing you would tell them?
Focus on your one good quality and just do it. Yeah. Whether the thing about it's simple. Make your bed every fucking day. Brush your teeth. Like, change the things that you can change now that you're going to see something happen. Clean your house. Have the cleanest house you've ever had. If you only have 3 sets of clothes, make sure they're the cleanest. So, like, literally take time to perfect what you have, and you'll start feeling better about yourself. It's all the micro decisions you make that lead to the macro levels.
Very true. Foundation.
the foundation.
Yeah. Anything that I didn't ask you that you want to tell people?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything, King.
Cool. Awesome.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thank you.
Yes, sir. That was incredible. Jack just gave us his full story, from Penasco to building a multi-million-dollar business, to the rules that he lives his life by, and how to actually leave a lasting legacy. If you got value from that conversation, please subscribe to Ironverse Uncut. That's what allows us to continue bringing on high-level guests like Jack. Also, if you're in the Albuquerque area and you take your training seriously, come and check out Ironverse Training Facility. We're the gym redefining the fitness industry in Albuquerque. Thank you so much for watching Ironverse Uncut. We'll see you on the next one.